My name is Sophie. I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist at Innovative Counseling Partners in Chicago, and I like talking about trauma, attachment, self-improvement, spirituality, relationships, and I want to talk about codependent thinking. There's a lot about codependence in behavior, but sometimes after a while it no longer impacts your behavior, but still has residual impact in your thinking. Attachment is something that we always have the ability to change, but it is something that gets established in our early development. So if we have an early development that has attachment issues, we need to consciously figure out how to modify those in order to change the behavior. If we are forced to use maladaptive coping strategies in our early life because our attachment people that we have no choice about come into the world having no choice about, we have to attach to them because attachment is foundational to our safety and development as infants. So if you grow up and you had to do that when you were younger, you have to behaviorally modify the way that you're thinking and the way that you're coping with your behavior and the stressors in your life. It can be changed. And part of that is on your own through learning, through increasing insight or receiving psychoeducation like from a therapist, or just talking about it, thinking about how your relational patterns of the past impact your behavior or your relationships right now. And also through experiential learning, like within relationships, building up trust with others, practicing safety, experiencing what that feels like in your body. Over time, you can earn a more secure attachment style than you developed. Part of this comes from Sit with Sharon. It's about codependency, shame, and grandiosity, and we're going to tailor that specifically towards our thinking patterns. Codependent thinking, over responsibility for someone's emotional state. You think that you are responsible, meaning you have the power and the obligation to change how someone's feeling. Because they can't do it themselves, you want to do it. I need to make sure they feel okay about me. They don't think that I am unsafe, and also they don't think that I am burdening them. You're not responsible for managing if someone feels like you are a burden to them in the first place. You're not the one who's responsible for managing how someone feels about you. But in that moment, you're doing it before someone has even said how they feel. Monitoring reactions and managing reactions. This can look like thinking that someone's tone means something about you. Someone's behavior means something about you. Or someone's distance, someone's silence means something about you, and that you should adjust your behavior without that explicitly being communicated to you. Self-adjusting to prevent hypothetical harm. Harm hasn't happened yet. You haven't been told that you harmed someone, and you are going out of your way before even acting, even in your thoughts, trying to prevent harm that you haven't been told exists. Believing that care means emotional caretaking, that you have an influence on their internal world, their emotional world, and that you are responsible for changing it, making it better, helping it, supporting it, whatever that looks like in your thinking pattern. The ways that this impacts shame is coming up in feelings of feeling unworthy or feeling undeserving of love. Like you don't deserve for someone to be interested in you because of where you are in life or what's going on or because of something that has happened to you. You could feel incomplete when you are alone, or like you need a relationship in order to feel alive or valuable or worthy. An over-reliance on others to meet your own need. And I see this come up with people's like daily rhythms, not being able to separate when they are tired, when they are hungry, when they feel more active, when they feel more energy, when they feel happier, when they feel more connected, and needing that to match up exactly throughout the day with someone else's internal rhythms. Taking responsibility for not making someone feel pressured before they have communicated to you that they are pressuring you. Assuming that you have the power and the control to make someone not feel pressured depending on how you act because they can't manage their own feelings around boundaries or communication or feeling influence or impact from another person. The other part, shame, is grandiosity, and I think this is where we see overlap with like narcissistic, self-centered tendencies, dismissive, avoidant, like blindness, trauma, and maybe like some more exaggerated symptoms of like inflated sense of self, and manic patterns where there's this feeling of grandiosity, superiority, having more power than someone else, thinking you can change others. If you think that you have the power to change someone, you are assuming you have more power than them and more influence than they have over themselves. Thinking you can fix someone. If you think that you can fix someone else, you think that you know better about what they need than what they need. That is a superior way of thinking. You know better about someone else than they do. Feeling empowered by someone else's dependence on you. This appears in family systems. Someone will assert power, dominance, control, coercion, manipulation over someone else, not to put them down, not to make them feel bad, not to hurt them, but because they feel the only way they feel empowered is by understanding what it is like to have someone below them, to disempower someone else, blind to how it would impact the victim in that situation. Trying to maintain the upper hand in relationships. Think of what happens if someone gets triggered in a conflict or in a moment of intimacy and what they will do to maintain safety. And for someone that's struggling with codependent patterns, that safety might come through reacting and trying to maintain the upper hand in relationships, whatever that looks like, to influence the other person. Stonewalling, pulling back, rejecting them, going away, escalating, refusing to let it go, refusing to bring it up, because that is what helps them maintain the upper hand psychologically in that situation. Rescuing others through disempowerment. If you go out of your way to rescue others, it puts that other person in a position of lesser power and disempowerment from themselves, which maintains control and influence in that relationship. Addressing these patterns, especially, it's one thing to be able to control the impulse and control your reactions and control your behavior, but if you're still experiencing these patterns, it's important to find replacement statements in order to change the attachment blueprint, in addition to having positive relational experiences where you feel safe and you can build trust. I don't need to pre-correct myself for problems that haven't been expressed. Wait until the communication comes, wait until the conflict comes, wait until the moment comes, and then you decide how to respond in that moment, rather than pre-imagining what could possibly be happening, which you really have no context or idea about. Am I responding to something that has been communicated? Am I responding to a problem that has been communicated? Or am I responding to how I imagine they might feel? You don't need to imagine how someone feels. They will tell you, and if they don't tell you, it's on them to tell you, and you to respond when they do, not about you to protect them while you're waiting. I'm interested in going more into attachment theory in general, so that might be the next thing that will come out of this visible mending number 1.